Our topic today is to talk about how to deal with the drought and eating to prevent further climate catastrophe. This video is presented by Defan, Amira, Dan, and Jia Chen. Our world is dying because of lack of water. It is getting worse now. There's nothing to harvest this year. The only thing he can do is praying. The drought situation is so serious in some places that the crops cannot survive. This is a photo taken in South California 2014, which hasn't got any rain in us for years. So what happened to our daily life? Can you ever believe the images on the left and on the right were taken at almost the same place? The left photo was taken in 2011 and the right one was taken in 2014. There was a huge lake there, but in 4 years, the water level had been dramatically decreased by 150 feet. As you see in the photo, after 4 years, the only thing left is a tiny stream. The picture shown here is a fossil lake in California. As you can see in 2011, there's a huge dam there and people use the water potential energy to generate electricity. It was a beautiful scene at the local place. People like fishing and boating on the lake. But now, it's even lucky that you just find one single fish. Now, let's take a look at the US drought monitor on January 2014. If the color is darker, the intensity of the drought is bigger. It's very easy to see that the drought situation is more serious in the western states than the eastern states. Like California is almost covered by the red, and in some specific locations, the color is in dark red, which means it bears exceptional drought situation. So people may ask why the drought happening in California is so concerned. Well, there are several reasons. The first reason is the El Nino, and let's take a look at a small video about it.
Every few years, the El Niño phenomenon kicks into life in the Pacific Ocean around the equator. It can affect weather around the world, changing the odds of floods, drought, heat waves, and cold seasons for different regions, even raising global temperatures. The main impacts are around the tropics, where you see an increase in the risk of floods in Peru and droughts in Indonesia, India, and parts of Brazil. But virtually wherever you are in the world, El Niño has the potential to affect you directly via the weather or indirectly via socio-economic impacts.
Okay, now let's talk about the second major reason, high usage of water. This is an image of water usage in California by NRDC. Human may use 44 million acre-feet per year, but if you take a look at the image, you will find we only use 20% in urban, and all the rest is used in agriculture. That is why the average local food price in California is greater than the normal years in 2014 during the drought. The third, other effects. Some people may ask how the food related to the drought in California. Well, there are two major effects which are related to the food that can cause the indirect factor of drought. As the large share numbers, livestock produce a considerable volume of greenhouse gases that leads to an increase in temperature. United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization has estimated that livestock production is responsible for 18% of greenhouse gas. That is the indirect factor of drought. Burning the residues is a large contributor to greenhouse gas emission. Almost 20% of U.S. land is dedicated to crops. Residues from corn, cotton, rice, soybean, sugarcane, wheat are most commonly burned after harvest, and mostly these residues were just burned in the field. There is no air filter or other machines to filtrate these smoking greenhouse gases. As I mentioned before, the large emission of greenhouse gases cause an increase in temperature, and that could be an indirect factor of drought in California. It seems our environment is getting worse and worse. Our beautiful land is becoming desert. Well, don't worry, I'm just scaring you. We are the smartest creatures in the world, and we are good at solving problems. The easiest step has been taken. We use a helicopter to mix the artificial rain to against the El Nino effect in California. Cooperation is also important since the El Nino effect is global. Each country should share their climate data and satellite images to make predictions of the effect. Water recycle and water preservation projects should be considered in the dry region. Some dry regions near the coast, such as California, could build more desalination plants to make the drinking water as a source of seawater. But this method may contain potential issues, such as a considerable cost in the long run. Livestock makes a great contribution to the greenhouse gases emission. People in the dry region should consume less meat, and the livestock farms should be moved out of the dry region to decrease the warming effect. For the residues burning, government should make some regulations, like farmers have to collect their residues and send them to some government-issued power plants for effectively burning. Effectively burning will dramatically decrease the greenhouse gases emission.
What do you think about the recycled water project?
I think water recycling water project is a good project, but for local governments, such those area where have major problems with drought, um, the capital is a big problem for to build such technology to recycling water. I don't know if their government, local government, can afford such technology.
So, what do you think about creating new potable water supplies such as seawater?
I think it is a good idea. However, and this system can only be used for those cities who are nearby ocean. For those inland cities, they don't have such resources to build
Mm-hmm.
such system.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you think for build an incinerator for the burning of crops residue to decrease the emission of greenhouse gas, thus decrease the possibility for climate problems such as global warming that eventually lead to drought?
It is a good idea. We all know that burning crops residue is a major problem, causes air pollution and global warming. So to build such system can reduce such air pollution.
Last one is, what do you think make the growing process of livestock and other animals be more efficiency? Like reduce the amount of grain that feed the livestock.
Yeah, it is a good idea, but the problem is who will set the standard, like how much to feed those animals, and what the standard would be.
Drought situation isn't a local issue, it is becoming global. People all over the world should be awareness of this change and cooperate to each other. We now know the reasons cause the drought and we are continually searching for better solutions. At least, we still have time to prevent this catastrophe. But if we don't ever make our effort, our beautiful state, California, could be the next Sahara, which is the biggest desert in the world.